I'm Vanita Mesquita, and I'm pleased to be here. This is my nth time coming to UPC. We've had this partnership for more than 20 years with UPC, and I think Camins was the first school, and then Teleco was the second in terms of partnerships. So, getting to the presentation, the picture you see on the screen is a picture of our campus. Our campus is in the city of Chicago. The foreground here, the buildings, are all the buildings that belong to the Illinois Tech campus. On the right-hand side, you see the metro rail lines. We have 2 metro stations on our campus that take you to the downtown area in about 7 minutes. So we're an urban campus, just like UPC. Also, Chicago, unlike Barcelona, is flat. So it's easy to ride a bike. The only problem in Chicago is that it's known for being a windy city. So if the wind is in the right direction, you can bike well. But if it's across you, then you're in big trouble. So that's the only thing you have to be aware of when you're in Chicago. My email address is my last name, Mesquita, @iit.edu. My role at Illinois Tech, I've been at Illinois Tech for a long time. My role at Illinois Tech is to be in charge of all international agreements for the university, new and existing agreements. The content of my presentation will cover information about Illinois Tech, then about the double degree program, and more details regarding transfer of credit and your research project, what you refer to as Tesina or Trabajo Fin de Masters, depending on which school you're at, and then I'll be ready for questions. The size of Illinois Tech, we're a medium-sized university. We have more students at the master's and PhD level. So the category for master's and PhD students is graduates. If you're interested in a master's degree at Illinois Tech, your category will be graduate student. You haven't graduated yet, but your category is graduate student. Undergraduate means bachelor's, and like in Spain, the bachelor's degrees are 4 years in duration. With the exception of architecture, Bachelor of Architecture is 5 years. We have a College of Architecture at Illinois Tech as well. You will see that we have more students at the master's and PhD level compared to at the bachelor's level. It simply means that we have more research, and because we have more research, we also have more programs, master and PhD degree programs. Career placement. Do you know what career placement means? You have an idea? Anybody want to be brave and volunteer to answer? Yes. Career placement means essentially that when you graduate with a degree from the university, what percentage of students are able to find jobs in their field of study. So we have quite a high percentage, 90.5% of our students can find jobs in their field of study in the States, or could be elsewhere as well. Our rankings, everybody likes to know where we are ranked. So we want to make sure they're in good company, and I think you'll be assured by the rankings that you're in good company. We are classified as number 1 best college in Chicago. The top U.S. number 35 among the top U.S. colleges with the greatest economic diversity. Number 29 for best value school, because of course you have to pay a certain amount to attend university in the United States. It's not cheap, and it can be quite expensive, so you have to look at it as whether it's a good return on investment or not. Number 23 in the United States, ranked by Wall Street Journal. So that gives you an idea of some of our rankings. Our alumni, the cell phone that you use was first invented by an Illinois Tech graduate, Marty Cooper. He's way on the right-hand side of the screen, and you see the size of the first cell phone. We still have it on campus in a showcase, so you can really check it out, but you cannot pick it up. It's behind a glass screen. It weighed more than a kilo at the time. If you use Alexa, if you like using Alexa, if you don't like using Alexa, it depends on your preferences. The head scientist behind the creation of Alexa was another student of Illinois Tech, Rohit Prasad. You see at the bottom, he received his Masters of Science in EE. EE means electrical engineering in 1999. And Ed Kaplan was involved with the invention of the barcode printer. We did not invent the barcode, but the barcode printing technology. He was a pioneer in terms of that invention. And then in the news, the last point is important. We have established a partnership with one of the leading manufacturers in the world, DMG Mori, to set up a national center for manufacturing, advanced manufacturing on our campus. Athletics, we're not considered a sports school. That means our teams do not play nationally, so there's no sports money and ads coming into the university. However, our students are part of teams. They play competitively, locally and regionally, and any student at Illinois Tech has the opportunity to participate in any of the sports and be part of the local teams. As you may know, every university has a mascot. So our mascot is that bird in the middle called the Scarlet Hawk. Okay. So as you notice, we have soccer, which you refer to as football, and we do not have American football. But we have basketball, baseball, we do not have rugby. But we have some sports that are similar to what you would like to see. We have many partnerships around the world, and in Spain we have our first partnership in Spain was in fact with Politécnica de Madrid. We have 8 schools within UPM that are in partnership with us: UPC, Comillas, Valencia, País Vasco, IEU is IE University in Madrid, and Universidad de Sevilla. So we have 7 universities, and within the 7 universities, many of the schools. So the structure of Illinois Tech is based on colleges. If you're interested in any program related to engineering, you would follow the department, and under the within the department you'll have many master degree programs. So for example, if you're interested in the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering, which would be similar to Teleco, that would fall under the Armour College of Engineering. If you're interested in civil engineering, you'd go to the Department of Civil. If you're interested in mechanical, you go to the Department of Mechanical Engineering. We also have the Department of Biomedical Engineering and the Department of Chemical Engineering, and also Industrial Technology and Management. Are all of you from Teleco, by the way? No. Okay, so I'm glad I mentioned civil. Are any of you interested in computer science, by any chance? But just in case you change your mind, the Department of Computer Science, the Department of Applied Mathematics is under the College of Computing. We have seen that some engineering students would like a more business approach to their education and may choose a program offered by our Stewart School of Business. So Stewart School of Business offers MS in finance, in financial economics, project management, technological entrepreneurship, and marketing analytics and sustainability management. So here are all the departments with the QR codes. So You can have fun with surfing the web in terms of all these departments. As I said, for civil, you go to the first department, civil, architectural, and environmental engineering. Each department offers its own number of master degree programs, just like the School of Civil will offer its certain number of master degree programs, similarly at Illinois Tech. If you go to civil engineering, you click on programs, and then, as it says here at the bottom, programs, and then go to master degree programs and click on graduates, and then you'll find the entire list of all the master degree programs. For example, civil offers masters in structural engineering, construction management, transportation engineering, architectural engineering, so on. Electrical offers AI, computer vision and control, cybersecurity engineering, and of course the traditional MS in electrical engineering, MS in computer engineering. Biomedical engineering, if you have a specialization and an interest in biomedical engineering, we offer also biomedical devices and modeling, different master degree programs under the Department of Biomedical Engineering. So why study at Illinois Tech? Well, you'll be in Chicago. Chicago is the third largest city in the United States. Which is the first? New York. And the second? LA, yes. So Chicago is the third largest city, so home to more than 30 Fortune 500 companies. We also have the advantage of accommodating two laboratories in the Chicagoland area. They're a little bit out in the suburbs. Argonne National Labs, which is owned by the US federal government, and Fermi Labs, which is the second largest laboratory in the world in particle physics after CERN in Switzerland. At Illinois Tech, unlike a lot of other universities, if you're interested in a double degree program, you would spend the entire year at Illinois Tech, and you'd be able to complete your program in 12 months, which would incorporate your research project, your Trabajo Fin de Masters. So for example, if you're in a 2-year master's degree program right now, you complete the first year of your master's at UPC. You have to be pre-selected by your school, your respective schools. If you're pre-selected, then you can apply to Illinois Tech. If you qualify for admission to Illinois Tech, which I hope is the case, and it has been usually the case, then you would start your master's degree in August. We start the middle of August, so August 2025, for example, and you'd finish your master's degree by August 2026. This includes your project, your Trabajo Fin de Masters, and I'll explain how we include that. Because our master's degree programs do not require a research project. So we substitute one course or two courses, they're usually elective courses, for your research project. Okay. One course is usually worth 3 US credits. That means once a week you'll attend that course for 3 hours, face-to-face contact with a professor per week. So if a master's degree program is 30 credit hours, that means it's equivalent to 60 ECTS credits. Okay. So you'd have to complete 30 US credit hours divided by 3 credits, because one course is worth 3 credits. So that will be your credit load for the year. Okay. The tuition cost is the same. We are a private university, so at all private universities like MIT or University of Chicago, the cost is the same for all students. Public universities, there's a difference in cost. You have to be a resident of the state, so international students like you would pay more compared to resident students who are residents of that state. There are no quotas. We offer scholarship. If you qualify for admission, automatically there's no extra paperwork, and you will enter on an F1 student visa. Why I mentioned this visa is for any student who wishes to obtain a degree at any university in the United States. So it can be a bachelor's, master's, or PhD degree. With this visa, after you graduate, so let's use that example I gave you earlier. So you start August 25, you finish by August 2026. If you're interested in staying on in the United States and getting some work experience, with this visa you can work for up to 12 months anywhere in the United States in your field of study. What do I mean by field of study? So say if your master's degree is in architectural engineering or it's in biomedical engineering, that's your field of study. So you have to find a job related to your field of study, and you can work anywhere in the United States for 12 months. Additionally, if your field is STEM, STEM is an acronym for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, which would be your case because you're all of you be pursuing masters in engineering, even computer science, that's all STEM. You have the option of prolonging your work for another 2 years. So all in all, with a STEM program, you can work for up to 3 years anywhere in the United States legally in your field of study. And the average salary is about, annual salary is about $75,000. Okay. So salaries are a little higher than in some other countries. Okay. So that's important for you to know because you'll be paying for your education and you have to see whether it's a good return on your investment if you look for a job. We have different types of master's degree programs, not to confuse you, but I know it can be confusing. So we have a Master's of Science, MS, or a Professional Master's, MES, or Master of Engineering. The question most students ask me is, are all of these masters accepted by companies? And the answer is yes. Can you pursue a PhD if I choose any of these masters, depending on certain fields? For example, at Illinois Tech, computer science. If you're interested in computer science and you know that you want to continue for a PhD, it's preferable to choose a Master of Science in computer science. If you're interested in just finding a job in the United States, then a Master of Computer Science, MCS, is fine. So all MS programs, all MEng programs, you can pursue a PhD. Master of Engineering, MS. MES Professional Masters is for certain fields of study where you don't need a PhD. So, for example, like we have the Department of Industrial Technology and Management, they deal with supply chain management, etc. That's more for the professions, for the workplace. You don't need a PhD, so it's called a professional master's. Okay. And the number of credit hours can vary. Most of the masters are 32 credits. Master of Engineering programs are 30 credits. Masters of Science are usually 32. If it's a Stewart School of Business, they may be 33 credits. Okay, so it varies from depending on the master's degree you choose. Again, the 1 US credit is equivalent to 2 ECTS. So if you pursue a 32 credit hour master's, it's 64 ECTS credits. Program fees I've already. Can one take any course from any department in a master's degree program? No. Just as here, when you pursue a master's program, you have to take some required courses, you may call them mandatory courses, compulsory courses. We call them core courses or required courses. And then you have electives. Electives are geared towards your specialization. So say, for example, you want a master's in electrical engineering and your specialization is power engineering. So you can choose a certain number of electives from in power engineering towards your master's degree program. It all has to add up to the 32 credits or 30 or 33. Okay? Interrupt me if you have any questions so that it's more interactive and I'm not just talking to you. I also want to make sure that you get your questions answered. I did a quick Google search, this was last year in fact, unscientific, just to see what the average annual salaries are like in the US. Also to give you an idea, because you're saying, oh, if you're going to the US, do I really want to work in the US? And then the next question is, what would the salaries be like? So I'm trying to think like you as a student, because I was also a student once upon a time. So I looked at the possible job positions that you could get in different fields offered by master degree programs. And I came up with these salaries, average annual salaries in the US, not anywhere else in the world. So, for example, if you're interested in, let's say, automation control systems engineer, the average annual salary is 85,000. If you're interested in computational fluid dynamics, the average annual salary is 94,000. Okay. Now, it's unscientific because, why do you think it's unscientific? Because it does not tell me whether it's early career, mid-career, or end-of-career earnings. So that's why I want to make sure, because you're engineers, that you are aware that this is just a random search. These are some examples, and there are many more, of some of our master degree programs at Illinois Tech. You're not restricted to these master degree programs. You can choose any masters with 50 plus master degree programs we offer at Illinois Tech on condition that your school approves of it. So that's all. So you can choose anything you want as long as UPC or your school at UPC says okay, because UPC has to validate your year at Illinois Tech so that you don't repeat the year when you come back to UPC. Right. So some of the masters you see, computer engineering in IoT, Internet of Things, that's offered by the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. The MS in Medical Devices and Biomaterials, that's offered by the Department of Biomedical Engineering. We have Energy Systems, Energy Conservation and Buildings track. I think that's managed by the Department of Civil Engineering. That is an interdisciplinary master's. So you will have some courses from another department as well. So interdisciplinary programs, you will have a smattering of courses from different departments. So here are the interdisciplinary programs, and if you want to have a competitive edge over other students who may just have a master's in electrical engineering or master's in civil engineering, there's nothing wrong with that, but if you're looking for at the job market, it's extremely competitive. There are hundreds of students like you who will have a master's in electrical engineering or master's in civil engineering, so you want to be a little ahead of the game. And so it's good to choose an interdisciplinary program because you get knowledge of other disciplines as well. It doesn't hurt, it's always helpful. So for example, if you choose the MEng, it's 30, all the of these interdisciplinary programs are 30 credits. That's 60 ECTS. So if you choose an MEng in computational engineering, the biomedicine track, it has to be managed by one department, so that master's is managed by the biomedical engineering department. So when you submit an application, you have to, on the application, list the department you're applying to. So that's why it's important for you to know, for these interdisciplinary programs, which department is overseeing that program. So then you have, you also have energy management and project management track managed by the civil engineering department, or you have advanced manufacturing automation systems managed by the electrical and computer engineering department. So that's important for you to know. I've cited some of the different types of master degree programs on offer. Again, these are just few examples so that you understand how we present our programs. For example, if you're interested, let's take the first one, if you're interested in autonomous systems and robotics, which is offered by the Department of Mechanical Materials and Aerospace Engineering. We have an aerospace engineering program. It will give you an overview of the master's degree program. It means what are the expected outcomes, and then what your career path could be. That means what kind of jobs you can hope to find in the US, of course, in this field. So if you choose autonomous systems, you could be a control systems engineer, autonomous systems engineer, or a robotics engineer. And the highlight robotics engineer, they've cited the median salary. So the median salary, annual salary, for robotics engineers, 105,000 a year. And the skills required are Python, CS, computer science, robotics, etc. And then you click on curriculum to see the courses that we offer. And when you click on the course, you will find a very short description of the course. So that's how you would narrow your search when you're looking at master's degree programs. So if you take the second last one, the M-Engine AI Computer Vision and Control, offered by the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering, you could be an AI engineer, artificial intelligence engineer. You could be a computer information systems engineer. So the salary for the computer information systems engineer, median is 153,000, and the skills required. So it gives you, I think, a very comprehensive idea of the master degree programs that we offer. So if you click on the Master of Science in Autonomous Systems and Robotics, you notice it will say coursework only option, because most of our master's degrees that you can complete in 12 months are course only degree programs. But we do incorporate the research project, and how do we do that? So let's say where's the red? I don't see where the red thing is. I'm sorry, I cannot see that. No. This the red one. It's which one? This one? Okay, sorry. Thank you. Oop. Your touch is, oh, there, where did it go? Oh, there we go. So, thank you. So the minimum number of credits required is 32 US credits, which would be 64 ECTS credits. You will see it says here maximum 400 level, maximum 700 level, and that may be very confusing for you. Pretty much it means all of our courses have different levels. So it's 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700. So 100, 200, 300, 400 level usually pertain to a bachelor's degree program. So 100 means first year bachelor's, 200 second year bachelor's, 300 third year, 400 fourth year. Some of the 400 courses could apply as master level courses. Anything above 400 is usually master's level, master's and or PhD level. So you see, you have to take these required courses, compulsory, 501, 541, and 543. Each one is 3 credits, so 9 credits of compulsory courses. Then you, for autonomous system and robotics electives, you have to select 23 credit hours. Okay, so that's about some courses, because some are 1 to 3 credit hours. So you can choose from this entire list any of these courses as long as they add up to 23 credit hours. Now here's where your research project comes into play. You see this project 597 special topics. That's the one you have to choose because it's variable credit. It means it could be 1, 2, or 3. So in your case, we could give a maximum of 3 credit hours for your research project. And now you're thinking, oh, 3 credit hours and we need 30 ECTS. We do not, nobody will give you 15 US credit hours for a research project at any university in the United States. So what you need to know is that your school accepts it. We respect the time you need to work on the project, and that's important for you. So say if your school says you need, I don't know, 6 months of full-time work on the project. How do you do that? So you would start in August and say you have to complete 32 credit hours. You register for 12 credit hours in the fall semester. You pick up 1 credit of the special topic, your research project. You work on that project with your academic advisor part-time during the semester while you're taking the other courses. Okay, so you're not free to wander around the campus just with your project. You have to take the other courses. So since our semester is 4 months in duration, mid-August to mid-December, if you work on it part-time, it would be equivalent to about 2 months of full-time work. Similarly, you pick up the 2nd credit in the spring semester. Spring semesters mid-January to mid-May. Again, you work on it part-time while taking the other courses full-time. So between August and May, you will have accumulated 4 months of full-time work on the project. Then from mid-May to mid-August, you have all the time in the world because you'll have completed the other courses on your research project. So you have 3 months of full-time work on the project. If your school requires you to present it in front of a committee of faculty members, we abide by that rule. If your school requires you to submit a report, whether it's English or Catalan or Spanish, you have to abide by that. Your school usually requires a form, like a research approval form with a grade that we award. We have those forms available. So we fulfill all the requirements per each school at UPSACE. You do not have to worry. We've had this program for more than 20 years and all the students have done this and there's not been any problem. Otherwise I would have heard it from the professors or the students by now. Okay, so it's managed well, and often students who find they like research, sometimes the professor, seeing that the student is good at research, may say after the first semester, would you like to continue for a PhD? And if you wish to continue for a PhD, usually, as you may know, in the United States in engineering technology, the research money that the professor has will cover the cost of your studies at the PhD level. So you would not have to pay anything for courses, any cost for the PhD. Because in the United States, PhD, you have to take courses, then complete certain exams, pass them before you start on your big thesis. Okay, so it's slightly different from what you're used to in Europe. Okay? So have you understood how that works? Okay, Stewart School of Business, as I'd mentioned earlier, if your school allows you to take an MS program in project management or technological entrepreneurship, that's fine. Some of these programs are 30 or 33 credit hours. You need to be aware of that. Are these STEM designated? The answer is yes. So even with these, any MS program offered by the Stewart School of Business is STEM designated, which means even with a business degree, MS business degree, you can work for up to 3 years in the United States. So I will briefly recap how the double degree or 1+1 master's degree works, because you're 1 year here and then 1 year at Illinois Tech. It's important that you be pre-selected by your school. So you need to contact your international department or professors in charge of the pre-selection for destinations abroad, and let them know that whether you want Illinois Tech as your top choice or your second choice or your only choice, and then they will inform you about when they will do the pre-selection, etc. Once you're pre-selected, your school will send me your names and email addresses and the degree program that they've approved that you pursue at Illinois Tech. Then I will write to you about our application process. You have to apply to Illinois Tech, submit an application form. We only require one exam for you to pass, and that is proof of English proficiency. Okay. We accept only one of two English proficiency exams, the TOEFL, IBT, Internet-based TOEFL, not home edition, where you need a score of 80 overall and 20 in each of the 4 sections. Or you can choose the IELTS, IELTS, again not home edition. You need a score of 6.5 overall and 6.0 in each of the 4 bands. Have any of you taken the TOEFL or IELTS yet? No. It's a good idea to take it if you're thinking of destinations abroad in English-speaking countries. Now, sometimes students ask me, is it better to take the TOEFL or the IELTS? It's really up to you. They are practice tests and you can choose either one. However, one point to remember is that if you're not sure about choosing an American destination or somewhere in Australia or another English-speaking country, other destinations in Europe where they offer English programs tend to be more partial towards the IELTS. So optimize. So if you're hesitant between, say, Australia and the United States, then it's best to choose the IELTS so that you don't have to pay to take one or the other. Okay. Also with the IELTS, since we require 6.0 in each of the 4 bands or 4 sections, IELTS, say if you've got 6.5 overall and in one section out of the 4 you've got a 5.9. The IELTS will allow you to retake that section for free. That's important to know. You don't have to take the entire exam. You can retake that section for free, and we will accept that retake score if it's improved. With the TOEFL, if you've got a less than 20 in one or more sections, you'll have to take the whole exam. That means you have to pay again for that exam. So that's important. Also, the validity of these exams is 2 years. So time it well when you have to apply for to the destination and when you should take the exam. Yes, sure. Mm. August of 2025. That should be fine. You should. Our application deadline is April 15th. So if you're pre-selected and submit your application, then you will be within that validity period. Okay. Make sure that your official score report is sent directly to Illinois Tech, because we don't accept copies of the score report. So, for example, when you take the IELTS, you'll have to contact IELTS. Since you've already taken it, you'll have to contact them and ask to send your official score report via the electronic upload delivery system to Illinois Tech. Okay. For those of you who are registering for the TOEFL or IELTS, you can do it when you register. Usually there's no cost to request for your report to be sent at the time of registration. He may incur a cost because it was after the fact. So if you're thinking about 5 destinations, you might as well choose all those 5 destinations so that at the time of registration, so that your score report can be received by these universities. I don't know if there's a limit on number of universities you can send your score report to, but be aware of that. Okay. We need your certified transcripts in English and in Spanish for your bachelor's and master's degree, and also proof of your bachelor's degree certified in English. We are aware that the Spanish students in general don't have their bachelor's diploma. They just have this little ticket that they hold on tight to, that they paid for their diploma till the King's Workshop works on this big certificate, etc., and issues it. So we're aware of that. So we will accept, in lieu of that big diploma from the King's Workshop, a letter from your school saying this certifies that student, well, your name, has successfully completed 240 ECTS credits towards the degree, a bachelor's degree at UPC on this date. We need the date, signature, stamp, and upload it. That will be more than sufficient. We don't need anything else. We trust that you will, when you write the letter, that you're writing the letter in full knowledge of the fact that the student has completed the bachelor's degree. So we have no doubt about that. Final decision is made by Illinois Tech. Any questions about this so far? Okay. Computer science, nobody's interested in computer science, so I'll skip this. Aerospace, nobody in this audience is from aerospace, so I'll skip that. If you're interested in any of the programs offered by the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering, you need to have completed probability in stats, which I'm sure you have already, and signals and systems. And for the description of the courses, of these two courses, you'll find them in this bulletin. Transfer of credit. Now, one of the reasons why most of the students are able to complete their degree in 12 months is because of the transfer of credit possibility. A transfer of credit means that if you have completed, we allow for up to 2 courses of transfer credit. One course is worth 3 US credits, or 2 courses is 6 US credits, or 12 ECTS credits. So say, for example, if you pursue a master's in electrical engineering and your specialization is in power engineering, and let's say, for example's sake, that among the electives, one of the courses is Introduction to Power Systems worth 3 US credits. And let's say you happen to have completed that course in the first year of your master's, not bachelor's level, at Teleco. And it's worth 6 ECTS credits. You've achieved a 6.5 out of 10 master's level course, and the content is similar to that Introduction to Power Systems. Then the professors will discuss this and decide, okay, if it's similar, we can award the student this transfer of credit for Introduction to Power Systems. Second course, let's say the second course is electricity markets, worth 3 US credit hours, and let's say you've done this course also, completed this course at the master's level. You've got a 6.5 out of 10, it's worth 6 ECTS, and the content is comparable. So if you're approved transfer credit of those 2 courses, you do not have to repeat those 2 courses at Illinois Tech. So what happens then? It reduces your overall credit load by 6 credits. So the Masters of Science in Electrical Engineering is 32 credits. If you've been approved of these 2 courses, transfer credit, 32 minus 6, you will pursue 26 credits in 12 months. Is this unusual for Illinois Tech? No. All universities allow for transfer credit. It's nothing exceptional. It, however, helps you finish within 12 months. And time is money, so it's a little bit less of a cost for you. You're saving on 6 credits. Yes. Pure. It's transferring also the grade. That's why you need 6.5 out of 10. Now, the next question you may be thinking about is some of your courses are not worth 6 ECTS. They may be worth, I don't know, 1.5 or 3 ECTS. So you can bundle those courses, okay? Get all of them together if they're similar in content to, let's say, the introduction to power systems. In that case, if you bundle two or more courses, we will look at the average grade in that bundle, which should be 6.5 out of 10, which would translate to a B grade. So for us, you need a B or better, B grade, which is at least 6.5 out of 10. Transfer of credits. So here's an example. If you choose an MS in computer engineering, you have a choice of one of these 3 specializations. And as I mentioned here, you choose from the electives. It has to be master level. You have obtained a 6.5 out of 10. Content is similar, number of hours is similar, and have chosen an elective course, and they have to be elective courses. So if approved, you will not need to repeat those 2 courses at Illinois Tech. Research project option, I explained it earlier how we incorporate it. It has to be course number 597. So if you're pursuing a master's in offered by the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering, it would be ECE 597. If you're pursuing master's offered by the Department of Civil Engineering, it would be CAEE 597. So it goes with the department. You can present the project in front of a committee if required by your school. Research paper, you should get the guidelines from your school. And also when you choose the topic, make sure that your school approves of the topic and what the research project will involve, because it's no point starting on the project and working on it and then your school says, no, it's not enough, you need more. So get approval before you start on the project. Now, you know, usually we advise students to do this as soon as they arrive on campus, meaning when we start in August. We usually have a few days before classes start of orientation. Sometimes students are put in contact with their academic advisor beforehand, okay, to discuss your course plan. It's done via Zoom or virtually. And then you can talk to your academic advisor about your research interests. Then the academic advisor may recommend, it may not be that academic advisor's research interest, but he or she may recommend another professor. You talk to that professor. You can do all of this virtually during the summer before you come to campus in August. And then if that's sorted out, then you have time before your school goes on holiday in August to make sure you've got approval for the research project. Because August you can't reach anybody in Europe. Everybody's out on the beach. And so it makes life much easier for you. So our research themes are 3. Urban features, it covers a lot. Health and wellness, and computation and data. So there's a lot of research opportunities, and sometimes students have been able to co-publish a paper with their professors in famous journals. So that's also a huge opportunity for you. Sometimes students also present their research at conferences among specialists or experts in the area. Now we get to the starting salaries before I give you the cost, so that you see whether there's a good return on investment. This slide is reporting from our Career Services Department. Career Services Department, its role is to assist students in writing CV, curriculum vitae, which we call resume, and also how to interview successfully with a company, how to negotiate your salary, etc. And they have a database of companies all around the United States. So if you register with the Career Services Center and you submit your CV, they will share your CV with these companies. They also organize 2 career fairs during the year, one each semester, where the company representatives visit the campus and interview students for jobs. We are not a job finding agency. You have to do a lot of the research, etc., but we can help you. If you have questions, we'd be more than happy to help you. So this is reporting data from the career services from international students like you, because often international students ask me, oh, I'm an international student, can I work in the US? Yes, with the F1 student visa. The work option is called Optional Practical Training, or OPT. You can work in the US if it's related to your field of studies. You cannot work in a tapas bar, for example. So that will be considered illegal. You have to work in your field of study. So this is reporting data from international students like you who found jobs in the United States. Their mean annual salary is $87,000 and the median is $80,000, and the companies, the top employers are Amazon, Algo National Labs, EY, Honeywell, etc. And most of these companies you're familiar with. So that's important data for you. The World Economic Forum, again, this is to help your career. 9 out of 10 future jobs will require digital skills. Okay. According to Forbes 2023, 50% of jobs by 2030 will require digital literacy and remote work experience. 50%. So, what is the cost? This is the current cost, August 2024, May 2025. If you decide to come next year, August 2025, you will fall under the new academic year, August 2025, May 2026. Do we know the cost for the new academic year? Not yet. We will know it sometime in February or March of next year. So we can only deal with what we have. Just to give you an idea of the cost. So the cost per credit hour is $17.80. So if you do the multiplication, it's 56,000 or 58,000, etc. You will not pay that cost, and I'll give you an example as to why. So if you pursue a 32 credit hour master's, the cost is $56,960. However, if you're pre-selected by a school and if you apply and qualify for admission to Illinois Tech, we will award you a scholarship for the year of $16,000. It's 9 credits of $16,000. So that will reduce your costs. Number 2, the transfer credit of up to 6 credits. If you're approved, then your costs are reduced by an additional $10,600. So instead of paying $56,960, you would pay $30,260 for the year, okay? Which is fairly reasonable for a master's degree. The costs may change for August 25, 26. We don't know, or whether how much of a change there will be. Usually, if there's an increase, historically, it has varied from 2 to 5%, but we really don't know, so I cannot give you any accurate percentage. Okay. If you pursue a master's offered by the Stewart School of Business, I took the highest one, the 33 credit hour master's, which is 58,000. There's a difference. With the Stewart School of Business, you would still get the 9 credit hour scholarship if you qualify for admission. However, Stewart School allows for 3 courses transfer credit, 9 credit hours. So again, minus 16,000. So that's why the cost will be a little lower. It'll be 26,700 instead of 58,000. That's part of that whole. Yeah, that's part of the 3 credits within the 26. So say if you approve, if you choose a 32 or 33 credit hour master's, you're approved of 6 credit hours, then you minus that from, so say 32 minus 6 is 26. The research credit of 3 credits is in that 26 credit hours. Yes, yeah. With some master degree programs, it may be up to 6. It may be up to 6, but it varies. Okay, because since we are course-only masters, it's very important for you to complete our requirements and the necessary electives. So sometimes we don't have much wiggle room in terms of the electives. We may be only able to substitute one elective course, which is 3 credits, and not 2. But again, whether it's 3, 4, 6, it doesn't matter to your school, because if you've completed in your school, your professors are experienced in knowing whether you've done the work, whether you've done the 6 months worth of work. So they will see the output, and they usually validate your project fairly easily without any problems. And our professors make sure that you do the work too. They're very demanding as well. Now, there are other fees. You thought this was finished, but unfortunately not. But this is the end of the fees. When you see most U.S. university websites, you see tuition and fees. So tuition is the cost of the courses, master's degree, and mandatory and other fees are all the services that a university will offer. Health insurance is mandatory, compulsory, so you have to partake of the health insurance that we propose for all students at Illinois Tech. UPass is optional, that is the use of the metro, the bus and the train unlimited. You can choose to take it or not. New student fee activities we organize for you when you're new, etc. And graduation, the activities we organize for you when you graduate, the cap and gown, etc. So you have to add that in addition. All students have to pay these fees, all, whether you're American or international, you have to pay these fees. Okay. So benefits, again, F1 or optional practical training up to 12 months. If it's STEM related, you've got up to 3 years. Another 2 years you add, so in total 3 years of work if your field is STEM related. Work anywhere in your field of study in the United States, not in Canada, not in other country. This only relates to the US. Average base salary in the US per pay scale is $81,848. You can continue for a PhD, doctorate program, could be funded by the professor, either at Illinois Tech or elsewhere, or return to Europe and work. Would your degree be recognized? Usually American degrees have worldwide recognition. And some French students have told us when they've returned to France, their salary was at least 10% higher than a student who just got the diplôme d'ingénieur from their school. So there is some value in getting a double degree. U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics in May 2023, the median annual wage 91. This is what their projection is. They said overall employment in architecture and engineering occupations is projected to grow faster than the average for all occupations in the next 9 years. About 195,000 openings are projected each year in the States, on average, in these occupations due to employment growth, need to replace workers who leave the occupations permanently. Okay. That means, again, it's looking for skills, a variety of skills in terms of work options. So, if you compare it with investing in a car, a lot of our students, engineering students, after their bachelor's, the first thing they want to do is buy a car. So say you spend the same amount of money to buy a car, let's say $34,000, adding the mandatory and other fees, not living expenses. The moment the car leaves the showroom, the value is diminished by 20%, but when you leave Illinois Tech, your value is much higher, the salary is much higher. A lot of our students, we have 138 students from among our French and Spanish partner schools this year in the master's degree program. 80 students are from Universidad Politécnica de Madrid alone, 80 of them. 40 from among the 80 are from the School of Industriales at Universidad Politécnica de Madrid. So there is some reason why they're coming. Most of them borrow money, and you can borrow money from banks in your country. You cannot borrow money from a bank in the US if you do not have US citizenship or if you do not have a US green card. There have been, every year we find a few students, a handful of students who have dual nationality. That means one Spanish and US or French US. Then in that case they don't need a visa to come to the US. They would come on with their US passport, and then they can work anywhere, and they're not subjected to the F1 visa requirements. And they can borrow from banks. Will banks loan you money? I haven't heard of any problems among the students. They said the banks usually want to loan them a sufficient amount of money because they feel that they will be loyal clients in the future, and they know that with a double degree they're likely to be gainfully employed fairly easy. You easily be able to find jobs either in the States or back in Europe fairly easily. Okay, so if you have that question, that's something to think about. So say if you borrow $50,000 because you want to also cover your living and other expenses, how long will you need to pay it back? So if you work in the US and the salaries are quite high, within 1.5 years you should be able to pay back your loan fairly easily. Okay. So our fall semester next year starts August 18th. Our deadline is April 15th. 2025, 2026 will be the same. We also have a UPM student, former UPM student, who created his own little organization, and he seems to be doing well. He organizes brown lunch workshops, etc., for brown bag lunch workshops for students. If you want to expand your network in terms of finding companies who may want to hire you. So it's Profesionales Españoles in Chicago. So that's the double degree program 1+1. For those of you who are still not sure about all the money and taking out a loan, etc., you still want the American experience, you can choose this option, the second option, which is to complete your Trabajo Fin de Masters, your research project, at Illinois Tech in a lab with a professor. The visa type is different. It's called a short-term research scholar. We don't call it an internship because that's a different type of visa altogether. It's called the J1 short-term research scholar visa, and you can stay for a semester or for 6 months. You have to be pre-selected by your school, and the deadlines are 1st of April if you want to come in September, or 15th of October if you want to start in February. You have to submit a professional statement, a CV, and certified proof of an intermediate level in English. It's not necessary to pass an TOEFL or IELTS. If you've done it, good, but it has to be valid. Or you can ask your school to issue a letter whether you have an intermediate level or not in English, your transcripts in English, and submit all to me, and I will distribute. You have to identify 3 professors within one department with whom you'd like to work. I distribute a dossier to the 3 professors, and if one of them says okay, then we issue an invitation letter. You have to show proof of funds that to cover your living expenses. Then we issue an immigration document called the DS 2019. You apply for the J1 visa, and then you come to the campus. So that's very simple. So since there are no undergraduate students here in this audience, I will not cover the undergraduate program. Students have asked about housing on campus. We have 5 residence halls, pictures of 2 of them, Row Village and Carmen Hall. You can choose any one of these halls. You can choose a double room or a single room, depending on the cost as well. This is what a single room looks like. and the room rates are based on this academic year. So it can vary from 7,000 to 16,000 for the academic year. Remember, the academic year is 9 months, August to May. Board and meal rates, that means how many meals you want per day, per week, etc., can vary from 1,900 to 8,300. You're not required to live on campus. A lot of our French and Spanish students on the double degree program, you prefer to live in the city of Chicago, and I've not heard of any problems with finding rentals. There's a big network, so students already there communicate with new students and say, oh, you can take my apartment and it was over here, etc., etc., and they talk to the landlord and arrange for the transition. So on average, a monthly rental in Chicago in a safe area, because we're a big city, some areas may be very cheap but not safe, so you want to be safe and reasonable. It varies from, it's about 1,200, 1,200 a month. Students have chosen a 3-bedroom apartment where the rent was 3,000, and with 3 bedrooms, 3 students, each pays 1,000, so it covers the cost, and then they all pool in their funds for their meals, etc. Some of them learn how to cook for the first time. So that's all a wonderful experience for them. Or they send messages to their parents asking for recipes, etc., and they learn how to make the Spanish tortilla once again. So it's all part of the experience. So that is the end of my presentation. I just attached a link. We have a rocket club and a robotics club. And some of our students participated. They designed their rockets, and they did a rocket launch, and even got the rocket back as well. So that's an interesting YouTube video to watch. Any more questions? Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's a very good question. The health insurance does not cover teeth, and it does not cover eyes, like most insurance, but it covers everything else. And if you wish, I can send you the link so that you can check and see if it's comparable. There's usually it's the Student Health and Wellness Center department that manages the health insurance, etc. You may see when you go on the department's website waiver possibilities to waive the insurance, but usually it's very difficult to waive the insurance. You have to fulfill certain conditions, and then you have to submit your current insurance. If you think that it's comparable, you have to submit all that information in English to the Student Health and Wellness Center, and they will make the decision as to whether or not it can be waived. 99% of the time it's not. They usually find that it does not cover what it should cover. Yes, yes. Okay. Any other question? There is supplemental insurance that you can take for dental and eyes. So my advice to you is make sure, because medical costs in the United States are extremely high. So make sure that you've done all your exams from head to toe, eyes, teeth, ears, everything, so that you're in good health and you've got a clean bill of health from your doctor before you come to the States, just to be on the safe side. We do have a medical office, so to speak, with a doctor on call and nurse and a psychological counselor. And that's available for students. You don't have to pay anything extra. I'll give you an example. We had a student from, a student happened to be from UPM. He arrived on campus, this was last fall, He was fine during the semester, and then he had some kind of bump on the back of his neck. He thought it was an insect bite, and he didn't bother with it. And then he found it was getting a little bit bigger. And somebody told him, you may want to go to the Student Health and Wellness Center and see if the doctor can check up on it. Yeah, so it was about 2 months later that he went to the doctor, and the doctor said, we need to do an X-ray. So for X-rays, you have to pay for the X-rays, okay? So he did an X-ray, and it turned out that there was a tumor in his neck. It was cancerous. So fortunately, the doctor was good enough to say, okay, get this X-ray, did not dismiss it as something like an insect bite. And he had to disrupt his studies and fly back to Spain to get it treated. So he because he's under, with the cancer treatment, the chemotherapy is not easy to follow studies, but we do give the option of students, they can withdraw from when it's a serious situation like this, and they still want to continue their studies. We defer their application to the following semester, and if they cannot come for in-person classes, they can at least complete some of their courses online. So we do offer that option so that it's not totally a lost case for the student. So it's very important to use. Sometimes students are very stressed. They may get depressed because you're coming to a new country and you're missing your friends, you're missing your dog, you're missing your cat, you're missing everything, you're missing the food, so you're missing the language. And you may feel, initially you feel very euphoric and wonderful, everything is new, and then after a time you feel a little bit depressed. So it's important to go to the Student Health and Wellness Center. You avail of the counselor, the counselor, psychological counselor. All your information is confidential. You can go anytime to the office and say, I really need to speak to someone. And they'll be more than happy to schedule an appointment and to counsel you. And everything is confidential, so you don't have to worry about everybody knows that I went to the counselor. It's not shameful in the United States if you decide to go to the counselor and ask for help. It's not considered as shameful. Okay? Sometimes you may be stressed because of the exams, and you're not sure if you'll remember all the stuff that you learned. And then we have a little dog in the Student Health and Wellness Center. It's called Solly, Solitude. And sometimes students, they just like seeing the dog and they're petting the dog, and they're very happy, and all their stress disappears magically somehow. And then they're able to take the exam. So there are lots of, there's a lot of help and resources that you can avail of on campus. You're not alone. Any other question? That would be highly recommended. Yeah, especially in subjects related to your field of study. So say sometimes we know that students in the bachelor's level, when they first come, they have to take all these courses, and they choose to optimize. That means try and pass all the courses in the first try so that they don't have to take those courses again. So you may get a 5 out of 10, just a passing grade. We understand that, but we have to see the progress of improvement. So maths and science, and so if you're in mechanical engineering, and you're interested in fluid dynamics, you should have good grades in fluid dynamics. And if you have a poor grade in Spanish, it doesn't matter to us, but it's important that we look at the overall application. The pre-selection counts, so usually your professors do a very good job of pre-selecting you. What you have to remember is this, we noticed this more so this year than in the past years. Quite a few students, when I say quite a few, of the 138, it's 4. So the numbers are still small, thankfully, that they have a rattrapage, to retake the exam if they don't pass a course. and sometimes the professors get a little bit discombobulated at Illinois Tech and say, how were they selected if they didn't pass a course? So I know it's common in the French and Spanish systems. It's preferable if those who are selected, it's a sure thing that you pass your course even in the semester before you leave, because we won't have the results of that second semester of your master's because our deadline is April 15. So just to be on the safe side, try and pass all your courses even in the second semester, so you don't have to retake the exam, or sometimes the school has to send the exam to Illinois Tech and somebody has to supervise the student while taking the exam, etc. It can be a little bit complicated. So make sure to pass all your courses before that. Yes, you have it. Mm. Apply. Okay, for housing, first they can only apply for housing once they've qualified for admission. So the answer to your question is the sooner they submit their application and all their documents, the sooner we give them a decision. And if they're admitted, then we send them information about next steps. One of them is housing. So we send them the link to the housing office, and then they can choose which kind of room and which meal plan, and if they want a double room, if they wish to have one of their fellow class students going with them to be their roommate, that's fine. You can recommend that or specify that in the form, and then the housing office will assign them the rooms. And usually they do all of the room assignments sometime in July, June or July, to the student. If you wait till the last minute, because they have to submit a deposit and they have to submit the contract, and the contract is binding. So if they submitted a contract saying they definitely want to live on campus in the semester, and then they decide, oh, my friends have found an apartment in Chicago and I'd rather be there, they will have to pay the money to IIT for that semester. Yes, so yeah, there's that possibility. Yeah, but they should not sign that contract if they are not sure. It's better not to sign it till you're absolutely sure you're going to live on campus. Otherwise, you have to pay that money and you'll be charged that amount. Yeah. It's not as easy. It's usually for a full year, and since they're going to spend 12 months, August to August, it works for them. For the short-term research scholars, for 6 months is not as easy. It's possible, but not as easy. But we do have some accommodation on campus, but the priority is given to students who are already there for housing. Yeah. Yeah, 1 year is usually the contract, even in Illinois, for 1 year. Any other question? Okay, I think I've answered everything. If you think of any other questions, you know how to get a hold of me. If you have questions related to the pre-selection, contact your professors at your school. Yeah? All right, thank you again, and a pleasure having you attend this presentation.